everyone, so I'm heading out again on another overnight camp back to the mountains. At the moment I'm just on my way up Mynydd Troedd, which is up there, and if you saw my last wild camping trip video, you'll notice things are a bit different today. It was quite warm last time, certainly a bit colder now. It's a month later, getting towards the end of October, and we've had some rain the past few weeks, and there's rain forecast for today, which will probably be here fairly soon. I can see some showers off in the distance, so I'll be expecting that soon. If you saw my last video, you'll know I had a race shortly after that trip, which I did, and all went well. But it took a few weeks to recover after that, had a few little injuries, but I'm better now. Still a few aches in my Achilles, taking the uphills slowly today, but otherwise all is well. So I left about 10:30 this morning, so it'll be a bit longer than last time, trying to get a few more miles in. Okay, so I'm a bit further on now, about 2.5 hours in and just under 8.5 miles covered. I've left Mynydd Troedd. I went all the way along the top and down the other side to the bottom of the valley. Now I'm coming up the other side of the valley onto the Black Mountains themselves, and as you can see, there's a nice thick fog coming in as we go higher. Some light drizzle, pretty steady, but nothing too bad yet, and a bit windy up on top of Mynydd Troedd. I put my jacket on and I was alright. So I'm going to be heading up to the top now, and then along the ridgeline, and see where I go from there. Playing this by ear a bit, not got a completely set route in mind, so we'll see how things go. But for now, I'm just going up. So I'm just coming down off Pen Cerrig Calch now, down into the valley, and then I'll be going up onto another ridge, which is just behind this tree, up onto there. So once I'm on top of there, I'll head along it until Pen y Gadair Fawr, I think it's called, and then I'll drop down into the valley, and if I can't find a spot in that valley to camp, then I will loop around to the next valley over, which is where I camped last time, and I know I'll be able to find a spot. I've been going just under 6 hours now, covered a little over 17 miles. It's been a bit slower than I expected, but I've been stopping quite a lot, take pictures and eat and everything, and I did make a small navigational error. Found myself on the wrong spur, so I had to backtrack a bit for that, which took some time. But yeah, I expected to be at camp way before it got dark, but at this rate I'll probably be there in the dark, which is not a problem. I know more or less, but I know quite well where I'm going in that area up there, so no issues with that. Apart from that, it's been a really nice day. Once I have been got going, I've been moving pretty well. I haven't been able to really do the uphills very fast because of my Achilles, but that's fine, take it easy. We've had a bit of rain, not too much, mainly just up on top. There's a thick fog and the wind, there's some drizzle and moisture mixed in with that. But it's not been too bad. It's actually been fairly warm. I mean, I'm just in shorts, as you can see, and I've been fine even up on top as long as I keep moving. If I stop, then I do get cold fairly quick, but I can keep moving easy enough. So now just going to try and navigate my way down and up the other side of this valley. And see where we go from there. So I finally made it to my camp spot and my tent. Bit of a journey getting here. Since I spoke last, I said I was going to do one up onto the next ridge over. Started going along there, and while I was there it got dark. So I was obviously got my head torch out, kept going, and I was just following this path. I couldn't see anything in front of me really. With a thick fog, head torch is pretty useless because it just all reflects back at you, all the light. So I could see like a couple of meters in front of me, and I knew I had to just follow the path, and at some point I'd have to just step off it and cut down down into the valley, across the slope. But I missed that turn in. I was looking for some sort of landmark or anything that might indicate a path, but obviously couldn't see anything. So I was running around up there for a bit trying to get my bearings, which I did eventually get that sorted with the help of my GPS watch, which was good. And then I just, once I was on the downhill slope, I knew where I had to go. As long as I kept going down and slightly across, I'd end up at a wall, and I could just follow that wall down, which I did. And just pretty much at the bottom of that is the bottom of the valley, and that's where I am now. So that's pretty much where my run stopped. It was 27 miles in total, and just under 9 hours. And I mean, speed wise, that's not that quick, but obviously I was walking a lot of it. I stopped to take pictures quite often and things like that. And I suppose one of the important things to try and learn from this is, would I be able to get up tomorrow and do it all again? Because this is obviously no good using up all your energy on day one if you've got another day exactly the same straight afterwards. Saying that, I probably won't do as much tomorrow. My Achilles were hurting more than I expected them to, so I might take it a bit easier tomorrow. But we'll see what that brings. See in the morning. But yeah, once I got down the valley, and I just had to find a nice spot, and there was a lovely spot just next to the path by the river, but it was really stony, so I couldn't pitch there. So I wandered about a bit looking for a spot, and I obviously came to this spot where I am now, which is pretty good. Level, a little bit lumpy and still a bit stony, but I just about managed to get all my pegs in and got a fairly decent pitch. One side is a bit wonky because it's sort of pitched up on a bit of a lump, but that's okay, should manage. It's fairly sheltered down here, and I don't know if you can hear the wind. There's a fair bit of wind now. Well, I'll say a fair bit of wind. It always sounds worse inside a tent, especially this one, which is a Terra Nova laser comp. It flaps quite a lot, so that shouldn't be a problem, hopefully. fairly sheltered. But yeah, so I got my tent pitched. I've collected water, so I shouldn't need to do that again until tomorrow. And I've given my feet and legs a bit of a clean, because as you can imagine they were filthy, and I'm not getting into my sleeping bag with mud all over my legs and everything. But right now I'm absolutely starving, so I'm gonna get some food on the go, obviously, and then set up my sleeping mat and bag. I mean, the time now is just gone 9 o'clock, which is a lot later than I thought I'd be here, but that's the way it goes. So I'm going to get myself sorted and get some food in me. Okay, so it's 20 past 10 now, and I've had my food. I've got changed, put on some clean base layers, which feels great. I've got some food in me, freeze-dried chili con carne with rice, which is good. Nice to have something warm. Speaking of warm, it has been really warm today. I think right now in the tent it is 13, 14 degrees centigrade, which is seriously warm for this time of year. I did see the forecast, they said it might be unseasonably mild, and they were right. Apparently there's some colder air moving in over the next couple of days, so I've got in just in time. And I've been fairly warm all day. I mean, I've just been wearing shorts, a long sleeve t-shirt and my waterproof jacket when it was windy or raining. But anyway, now that I'm all set up, I've got my sleeping pad inflated. Now I've pulled out my sleeping bag, which is a new one. It's the Mountain Hardwear Mountain Speed 32. So that's what I'm using tonight, and I should be very comfortable in here. There's not much wind at the moment. There's been a few gusts, and the tent is flapping about a bit, but that's not a major problem. So I think I'm just going to have to pop out once quickly to go to the toilet, and then I'll spend a little bit of time reading maybe before going to bed, and we'll see what we do tomorrow. Not sure. Make that decision when we wake up. Morning all. So it is about 8:15 now. I got up about 7:30, and as you can see it's quite similar to yesterday, so very grey, a lot of cloud up around the tops. It's a fairly quiet night in all, a few gusts of wind and a bit of rain now and then, but all in all pretty quiet, and as you can see it's quite quiet now. I'll just show you my pitch. So you can see it's just one tent sized ledge almost that isn't bracken, because everywhere else around here is pretty thick with bracken. So I was fortunate enough to find this spot, and like I said, a bit tricky to get a good pitch, but I think I did alright in the end. Just this one end is a bit of a bump under there, so that wasn't quite perfect, but that was fine. Like I said, pretty quiet all night, so didn't have to worry too much about that. So I've had my breakfast, some porridge, and I'm just in the process of packing up, and I'm still not 100% sure what I'm going to do today. I had a look at my feet when I woke up, and a couple of little blisters, but nothing that should be too much of a problem. Achilles are quite sore, and so is sort of my feet themselves, which is the same problems I had on the race a few weeks ago. So I definitely don't want to aggravate that too much. But either way, I'm going to go head up out of this valley to the top of Weinbach, which is the highest point in the Black Mountains, and from there I'll see how I'm feeling really. I could just from there just head straight back, or I could go and do a little loop out, but we'll see. For now I'm just going to pack up quickly, get a little bit more food in me, and set off. So I'm about an hour and a half in to day 2, and I'm just under 6 miles, so making better progress than yesterday, and I think that's what today will be a bit more about, trying to move a bit quicker. I'm not going to do as much distance, maybe half of what I did yesterday, and I've just come off the top now. I went up to Weinbach, the very top, and you didn't miss anything there. It was grey and damp as usual, and I've just come all the way down to the bottom edge of the Black Mountains, and I'm just going to be following this path which skirts along the bottom all the way back. So yeah, probably at least 12 miles I imagine, and probably be back before lunchtime. But yeah, I mean, Achilles aren't hurting too much, but the joints in my foot, which was another small problem I had, are quite painful. So I've also got a bit of a blister on one of my toes, so I just try and keep it a bit flatter all the way back. I mentioned at the start I had a couple of new bits of kit to test out on this trip. Sleeping bag, which I mentioned last night, Mountain Hardwear Mountain Speed 32. It was excellent. I mean, it was far too warm. I didn't need to zip it up at all, but you know, it's light, it packs down tiny, which is what I wanted, and I was more than warm enough last night. The other bit was a new rucksack, which is the Ultimate Direction Fast Pack 20, which has only just come out in the past week or so, and I've been waiting for it to come out because I really like the look of it. The pack I was using before was the Montane Ultra Tour 22, which was decent. I mean, I like the features of it, like the roll top closure and the outside pockets and things, which this Ultimate Direction has. But the fit of the Montane didn't quite suit me. I couldn't quite get it down tight enough, and it did bounce quite a lot. But this Ultimate Direction is built more like a vest pack, which, you know, I use vest packs for most of my other running, long distances and races and just long runs. So I'm familiar with that. I know how good they can be, and I was really hoping that it would be at least better on a larger pack than a traditional harness system. And I mean, so far so good. It definitely bounces less than the Montane did. I've got, like you can see, storage on the front keep camera in there, water bottle there, some food there, and I can access side pockets. How well you can see around there. 2 side pockets I can access. It's got a big stretchy pocket on the back and the roll top closure, and that's been really good. Very impressed with that so far. So that's it for the kit. Everything else was pretty much the same as what I normally use. It all worked fine. So that's probably going to be the end of this video. As I said, just going to keep a steady trot along the bottom here all the way back. So yeah, that'll be it. I hope you enjoyed this video and hope you'll join me on the next one. Cheers.